This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Today, Pendleton taking new steps forward as they clean up from Memorial Day tornado. Schools reopening as storm damage fades away. The way the community still needs help.
Plus, emotional testimony from the widow of Deputy Jacob Pickett. What she had to say to the man who pleaded guilty to murder and received a life sentence.
And extra police officers on the road right now, cracking down on drivers not wearing a seatbelt. The push behind the Click It or Ticket campaign coming up. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Meredith Barrick, and you're going to want to buckle in for this forecast because we have more rain.
But finally, today's the last day that we have rain in the forecast, at least for one day.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be
everyone's going to be like, hallelujah.
I know. Yesterday, not everybody saw the rain. Heavy rain to the south, not as much rain in northern locations. And this whole entire week, it's been very dependent on where that front has been toggling back and forth across central Indiana. So right now, we're just dealing with some showers moving through mainly northern locations. There's a few sprinkles down to the south, but here's some showers this morning up near Monticello, as well as Lafayette, Frankfort, and then over towards Marion and into the Portland area. They continue to lift to the north. The bulk of this heavier rain and thunderstorm activity is moving through Chicago and Milwaukee. That will not impact us. So we'll just deal with some scattered showers off and on throughout the morning commute. And then this afternoon, there's the chance of maybe a few isolated thunderstorms in this forecast, but nothing widespread. Temperature-wise this morning, we're sitting in the 60s, so not bad at all as we work our way throughout the day with the cloud cover around today. A little cooler than it has been. High temperatures in the 70s. It's certainly not a washout, but a day you probably want to have the umbrella handy. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Not much happening out there on the roadways right now. Coming in from the northeast side, heading southbound on I-65 from Huntington Avenue down to I-465. Should only take you about 5 minutes, so all's moving along just fine. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Here's a look on the northwest side, I-465 at West 86th Street. Looking pretty empty out there. Stay tuned to the next 20 minutes. I'll point out a weekend road closure, interstate closure to be exact. That begins at 9 o'clock today.
Elena, thank you. Today, another step of getting back to normal in Pendleton. All South Madison schools will reopen for the first time since the Memorial Day tornado.
Recovery after the EF2 tornado will continue today. For the first time, however, all traffic restrictions in Pendleton have been lifted. With schools reopening, the shelter for anyone in need will move from the high school to the Pendleton Christian Church. Rolling food trucks from Red Cross and the Salvation Army will also continue today. As cleanup continues, another coordinated volunteer effort will also happen.
I'm blessed enough to have a community surrounding me who supports me in everything I do, and I think we need to let Pendleton know that LaPel's a supporting community that are going to be there for them. Whatever we need to do, we're going to do it.
If you want to help, you can show up at the Pendleton Christian Church at 10 this morning. The Emergency Management Agency says if you have any questions or concerns, call 211. As cleanup continues in Pendleton, the dangers from the severe weather have not passed quite yet.
Yeah, our Aaron Lish is live in Pendleton this morning with what first responders are urging residents to do to avoid injuries as that ongoing work continues. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. Plenty of damage here. You can see all of the debris from this storm. Even this car absolutely smashed. Trees were basically like twigs with this 130-mile-per-hour winds ripping through this town. Now, the CDC points out data gathered from another tornado is that 50% of injuries happen after a storm. So we talked to Captain Michael Pruitt from Wayne Township Fire Department, who responds to natural disasters across the country. That includes tornadoes and hurricanes, and he says there are things like down power lines, gas leaks, sharp edges and nails that are dangers from a tornado that can cause some serious injuries. He says have heavy boots, long sleeves, pants, and safety glasses during cleanup. Pruitt also adds it's going to take time for things to get back to normal.
When these disasters come to our communities, there's just that shock, that initial shock, and then it takes a little while to get this machine moving to help people get through the storm. It's not something that happens quickly. And so all I can say is, just be patient.
The emergency management team has 2 dumpsters in town, one at the Methodist Church on State Street and Brown's Pool on Water Street. I was just talking to law enforcement. They are driving around the areas here. We're asking what is the big concern right now, and there are still a lot of people without power. They say that Duke Energy has about 200 customers still in the dark this morning. We are going to have a little bit more coming up in the next half hour on how you can prepare for something like this that could happen to you in your neighborhood. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. A Lebanon man is behind bars this morning where he will spend the rest of his life after pleading guilty to the murder of Boone County Deputy Jacob Pickett. Anthony Baumgart said he had nothing to say after being sentenced and leaving court yesterday. A victim impact statement read by Deputy Pickett's widow sheds light on the plea deal that was reached, including the prosecutor's decision to drop the death penalty in the case. Jennifer Pickett said in part, "I will not allow this single selfish action to define Jake's life, my life, or the lives of our children. I will not allow you to take up any more of their lives with a death sentence that will drag on for 20 to 30 years with frequent hearings that will constantly reopen the wound you created. My boys deserve better. I deserve better." To read the full statement from Deputy Pickett's widow, head on over to theindychannel.com or the RTV6 app.
3 people are being questioned by police after an 18-year-old was shot and killed while driving in Lawrence. Officers arrived at 56th and Boy Scout Road just after 6 last night and found an 18-year-old behind the wheel of a car that had crashed into a pole. Police say he had been shot and was rushed to the hospital where he died. Witnesses say 3 other people jumped out of the car after it crashed, and those passengers are who investigators are talking with in connection to this case. The name of the 18-year-old who died is expected to be released later today.
Mayor Joe Hogsett is laying out a new plan to fund more road projects and fix pothole-plagued streets all across central Indiana. He explained the ideas in his State of the City speech last night. The mayor says because more people use Marion County roads than actually live in the city, officials need to reach out to surrounding areas where those commuters live. The mayor is calling for Marion County and 8 surrounding counties to put money into a central infrastructure fund, which would then be distributed out for local road projects.
After decades of underfunding, it is abundantly clear that any solution for Marion County's infrastructure problems must include help from all who routinely use that infrastructure.
The proposal is still in the early stages, but could eventually raise $100 million new dollars for projects without raising taxes. The mayor of Fishers, Scott Fadness, has already voiced concern about the idea.
An Indianapolis congressman is working to make stricter laws for things like duck boats after a sinking last year killed 17 people, including 9 members of an Indianapolis family. Congressman Andre Carson has reintroduced new legislation that would step up regulations on the water vehicles. Among the requirements would be that all passengers wear a life vest while the duck boat is in the water.
New this morning, if you stopped at a Rally's on the southwest side, listen up. The fast food chain saying a data breach impacted dozens of locations, including one here in Indianapolis. The Rally's at 3605 Kentucky Avenue has since closed, but management says the data breach occurred from October of 2018 until February of 2019. Anyone who used a credit or debit card at the restaurant during that time is asked to check their statements. Rally's also advises you can sign up for a free credit check with Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion.
If you don't click it, get a ticket.
Right now, more officers are on the road and working overtime, cracking down on drivers not wearing a seatbelt. This effort is part of the National Click It or Ticket campaign currently underway. A grant from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration pays for the extra work during this campaign. Police say thousands of people die every year because they are not wearing a seatbelt. Our Stephanie Wade rode along with police and in just 1 hour window saw 3 people pulled over for not having a seatbelt on. Last year during the Click It or Ticket campaign, Indiana officers wrote 32,000 citations and warnings. Right now it's 5:09. Let's get over to Todd.
All right, once again, rain is in the forecast here across central Indiana. The good news is it's mainly just showers today. I think we're only dealing with a few isolated storm potential as we get into the afternoon hours, and we're no longer in the slight or enhanced risk, just a marginal risk for storms. Here's what's happening right now on Storm Team 6 radar. We have some showers here in northern locations. You see them moving through Lafayette, Cocoa Kokomo, then extending eastward into Muncie over towards Jay County and Portland. A few sprinkles in and around the metro area and points down to the south, but no real heavy rainfall this morning for your morning commute. That is the good news. All the heavier storm actions moving through the Chicago area here this morning and over into Milwaukee, and that'll continue to head across Lake Michigan. So as we work throughout the day today, you probably want to have the umbrella handy. There are a lot of dry hours, though, mixed in from start to finish. As temperatures right now sit in the 60s, 63 in Indy as well as Greencastle, 63 in Bedford, so pretty uniform temperature-wise. And then highs this afternoon with the additional cloud cover today. Mid-70s from Indianapolis to the north. Could get it right around 80 degrees in Bloomington as well as the Columbus area. We'll talk more about your Friday and weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Still ahead, scary moments at a Texas ballpark. A foul ball hitting a young girl in the stands. The renewed calls for safety the accident is bringing up.
Plus, just one Indiana speller is moving on to the finals. One of 50 kids hoping to WIN. What he says about his strategy going into the Scripps National Spelling Bee finals coming up next.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 5:13. Here's a look at I-465 at Westfield Boulevard on the north side. Everything's moving along just fine. Stay tuned. I'll point out a closure you're going to want to pay attention to, especially if you're coming from the south side this weekend.
Elena, thank you. New this morning, Disney now sounding off about a controversial abortion bill that could become law in Georgia.
The head of Disney saying it will be difficult to keep filming in Georgia if the bill becomes law. The Georgia governor signed a bill set to become law January 1st, banning abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which can be as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. Last night, Disney's CEO Bob Iger said they are closely watching the legislation and says many Disney employees would not want to work in Georgia if it becomes law. Recently, Disney filmed portions of Marvel hits Black Panther and Avengers Endgame in Georgia. Netflix was the first studio to react, promising to help the ACLU write the law and threatening to pull their projects as well.
Illinois is one step closer to making recreational marijuana use legal. The Illinois Senate passed a bill with little debate on Wednesday that would approve the drug for recreational use. It now heads to the House. Illinois Governor Pritzker has been vocal about working with lawmakers to get this bill passed. If recreational weed becomes legal, Illinois would be the 11th state to legalize the drug.
Emotional scenes at the ballpark have renewed calls for more safety nettings at all MLB parks. The game was paused and Cubs center fielder Albert Amora Jr. was seen crying after he hit a foul ball that hit a little girl in the stands. She was taken to the hospital but is expected to be okay. Back in 2017, protective netting was extended at the Astros Stadium where this happened, but witnesses say the little girl was sitting about 10 feet past the nets. Some are calling for nets around the entire fan section.
Amazon is making some privacy changes for Alexa devices that listen to everything you say. The company will roll out a delete feature on stored recordings soon. All you will have to do is say, Alexa, delete what I just said, and your last request will be erased. A Bloomberg report found Amazon employees will listen to recordings of you to help Alexa's speech recognition. It is 5:16 right now, and Todd, we would like the forecast, please.
Alexa, can you get rid of the rain, please? delete. Unfortunately, rain is in the forecast once again today. We're not probably dealing with any widespread severe weather threat today, so at least that's good news. But as you can see already this morning, we're dealing with some scattered showers making their way through the area up towards Lafayette. A heavier shower near Monticello this morning, then some light showers through Tipton County and Tipton into northern portions of Hamilton County up towards the Sheridan area. And then as we work our way even east into Muncie and Portland, some light rain showers in and around the metro area. Points to the south. It's just a few sprinkles moving through this morning. So don't be shocked if you have to throw your windshield wipers on at some point here for your morning commute. But we're not expecting really any heavy rainfall, unlike yesterday when we got into that heavy rain down to the south. Several inches of rain fell down towards Bedford and then across southern Indiana as you worked your way closer to the Kentucky border. So this is the last wave of rain that's going to come come through. You notice this little area of shower activity in Omaha. That is the actual area of low pressure, and that comes through later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. So as we go over to TrueCast, there are a lot of dry hours mixed in throughout the day today, but there are also the chance basically of a shower or maybe a thunderstorm flaring up at any time throughout the day today. And just like yesterday, once we broke into a little bit of sunshine, that's when those storms flared up south of Indianapolis and then worked their way with a few warnings as you made your way into Brown County and points down to the south. So today it's kind of the same deal. If we get into some sunshine during the afternoon hours, that'll help to flare up the potential for some isolated storms moving through later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. And it's during the afternoon and evening hours, if we do flare up those storms, that there will be the potential for one or two of them maybe to go strong and to severe. Wind and hail, though, today would be the two main threats. Not as big of a tornado threat in our forecast, at least for the day today. 63 degrees, that's the current temperature. Just a light wind out there. Certainly very muggy with the dew point up there in the low 60s, and temperatures are in the 60s anywhere you go this morning across central Indiana. So we'll deal with some spotty showers this morning and then some spotty storms throughout the afternoon hours, with a high temperature eventually climbing up into the mid-70s. Now tomorrow, it's a whole new ball game, and it's a ball game I think you're going to like. We'll have lots of sunshine in the forecast after maybe a little lingering cloud cover in the morning tomorrow. Look at the sunshine for the latter half of the day. If you have any plans outdoors Friday evening, you are in great shape. Temperatures will be average for this time of year. Our normal high is 77. We'll be right around that number for your high tomorrow. And then as we look ahead into the weekend, Saturday we do bring back the chance of some storms. They should be spotty in the afternoon and evening. Lots of sunshine mixed in as well. So definitely not a washout. 80 degrees. And then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday look beautiful with sunshine and temperatures in the low 70s. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-65 at the South Split. Right now you can see traffic is moving along just fine, but that's not going to be the case come 9 o'clock this morning. So let's take a look at the map. This is a closure that's going to begin again today at 9 o'clock this morning. It'll continue through Monday at 6 o'clock. So if you're a South Side driver and you plan to head downtown, you're going to want to pay attention to this. So northbound I-65 is going to be closed between I-465 on the south side up to that South Split. And at the same time as that, northbound I-65 will be closed from the South Split up to the North Split, as well as westbound I-70 from the South Split over to Belmont Avenue. So to get around this, what you can do, head westbound on 465 to eastbound I-70 if you're planning on getting downtown. Now do note that the last exit that will be opened is the Illinois Street Meridian Street exit. So 79B, that is the last exit that will be available for you to use. Another detour route you can take westbound 465 up, which turns into northbound I-465, and then head northbound or southbound on I-65 depending upon your destination. So that'll be your route for the weekend. It does add some significant time to your travel, so if you do plan to do this, leave earlier than you typically would. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Here's I-70 over on the east side. This is at Post Road. You can see all is moving along just fine. If you're impacted by any showers or thunderstorms today, as Todd was mentioning, just be sure to use extra caution.
Elena, thank you. Things are heating up in Washington, D.C. today, where 50 finalists will compete for the championship in the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
The event is sponsored by RTV6's parent company, and it cut the 500 participants down to 50 last night, and it only includes one Indiana finalist. So we actually told you about him yesterday. Pranav Chandar is a 6th grader from Newburgh. It was his first time ever at the National Spelling Bee, and he says he was thrilled to make the top 50, and he does have a strategy going into the finals today.
So all you have to do, ask all the questions that there are, and then use those questions and think about the word and think about the possibilities and the different ways to spell the word, and use those questions, use the answers that Mr. Bailey gives to those questions. Use that in your spelling of your word.
What a smart kid. Well, the spelling starts this morning live on ESPN2 and then moves to ESPN tonight. It goes until only one speller is left and named the champion. Good luck, Pranav.
Still ahead, a stranger knocking on Broad Ripple doors in the middle of the night. The story residents say he was telling and help police need as they try to track this guy down. That's coming up in 15 minutes.
Plus, the cutest spectacle in racing, the kindergartners running for the bricks and a chance to be the Kindy 500 champion. That's coming up next.
KindyZoo.com.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 5:25. Here's a look at I-65 at the South Split. You can see everything's moving along just fine for your drive. That won't be the case come 9 o'clock because I showed you that closure before.
All right, Elena, thank you. No need for these drivers to start their engines, but hopefully their shoes were tied. Dozens of kindergarten students at McCordsville Elementary School ended the school year racing in the Kindy 500.
It's certainly the cutest spectacle in racing. The students created their own cars before race day, and teachers say it's fun to see what they come up with.
Unicorns for the girls. We've got sports themes for the boys. We just kind of give it an open-ended thing, and they can do whatever they want. I mean, some of them go all out with paint and glitter. Some of them just use markers and crayons.
Keeping with race tradition, the winning student celebrated by chugging a bottle of milk. Oh, goodness gracious.
He has the Pacers car.
Yeah. Oh, so you have the Pace car at the real Indy 500, and you have the Pacers car at the Kindy 500.
And the Batmobile there,
too. Look at that one.
That one's pretty snazzy. I saw one with rainbows on it. Very cool.
I love
All
that.
right, let's talk a little bit about the weather, Todd.
Some scattered showers once again in the forecast here throughout the day today. These showers are generally going to be light this morning. And then as we get into the afternoon hours, there could be a few isolated thunderstorms, and they could be borderline strong to severe, but it should not be a widespread event for us today. That's the good news. With the added cloud cover today, temperatures running a little cooler, mid-70s to right around 80 degrees.
Todd, thank you. Still ahead, a recall fix for Kia's catching on fire, reportedly causing more problems for Indiana drivers. Why one woman says her car was fine before she took it in, but now she's worried it's not safe.
Plus, the storm damage not over just because severe weather is moving out. Why more injuries can happen after the storms have passed after the break.
Only on RTV6 News.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
A recall is supposed to stop these vehicles from bursting into flames.
Why one woman says the fix actually caused new problems to her car. And cleaning up from the Memorial Day tornado will take days, if not weeks.
Working for you, we're talking to experts about what you need to do to stay safe while cleaning up. Thanks for starting your morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen standing by. Todd, we've got to get through today. A little more rain, and then tomorrow we can enjoy our Friday with some sunshine.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and just perfect timing with Friday being the best weather day of the week. But yet today, potentially another day that we have quite a bit of activity that's going to be showing up on Storm Team 6 radar. This morning, there's not a whole lot out there. There's some spotty showers here to the north as you work your way into the Tipton area. The heaviest shower activity we currently have is up through the Monticello area and in just north of Lafayette. Otherwise, we're just dealing with maybe a hit or miss sprinkle for your morning commute. The best chance of some heavier showers and storms will be later on this afternoon, and that's going to be dependent on how much sunshine we can see. There's lots of clouds out there right now. Once we get into some sunshine this afternoon, that'll help to flare up some storms pretty quickly across the area. So you probably want to have the umbrella handy in your car as you're going to be out and about. Temperatures this morning pretty uniform anywhere you go. We are in the 60s. We'll see our temperatures eventually climb into the mid-70s today, so a little bit cooler than it has been. Overall, mostly cloudy skies, but just look again for those isolated showers and storms to flare up later on today. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-465 at Michigan Road up on the north side. You can see not too many people are out on the roadways right now, so if you're heading out the door, you should be good to go. Let's take a look at the map. Coming in from this southeast side on I-74, if you're heading northbound from Acton Road up to I-465, it should only take you about 5 minutes, so all is moving along just fine for your morning drive. But let's take one last look at those roads. This time we're looking over on the east side. This is I-70 at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Again, those roads are dry right now. That won't be the case as the day does continue, so just be sure to pay attention and slow down, especially if you're impacted by any thunderstorms.
Elena, thank you. The people of Pendleton are recovering after Mother Nature took its toll on the town.
The EF2 tornado rolled through, damaging homes, businesses, and cars. Our Aaron Lish is live in Pendleton this morning with the dangers that are still present after the storm. Unfortunately, we are having some technical difficulties, so we will try to get back to her in just a moment. We do want to take a turn now to a Call 6 investigation where many drivers no longer feel safe in their own cars after reports of Kia and Hyundai vehicles bursting into flames. Some vehicles have been recalled, but Call 6 investigates has learned sometimes the recall fix creates new problems. Amanda Hickman drives a 2012 Kia Soul. She received a notice in the mail for her car that had a recall, so she took it in for repairs, even though she was not having any issues with her car. Technicians replaced the catalytic converter. Amanda says since then, the car makes a knocking sound, the dashboard is getting hot, and the car is losing power. Those are all things the Center for Auto Safety says are usually symptoms before the vehicles catch fire.
Something's got to be done. Like, my car is not wanting to drive. I'm almost getting hit with my 3 kids in the car.
We reached out to Kia about Amanda's vehicle. The company released a statement saying, quote, Consumer Affairs will create a case and reach out to her for additional details and determine what assistance can be provided after reviewing the maintenance and repair history.
Indiana's newest law aims to protect your kids on and around their school bus. Governor Eric Holcomb signed the legislation on Wednesday. It increases penalties for drivers who do not stop when a school bus stop arm is out. Lawmakers proposed the bill after 3 children were hit and killed at a bus stop in Fulton County. Their parents attended the signing ceremony.
When this happened, my father and I, we were like, what are we going to do? How can we make something so tragic come out positive? Like, I didn't want my children to die in vain. Today proves they didn't die in vain, and my children are in the front saving other kids' lives.
The law also sets up new requirements for school officials to review all bus stop routes and their stops.
Bullied so badly, a Franklin teenager says she attempted suicide several times. Now the girl and her mother are suing their school system. The lawsuit identifies the 14-year-old girl as RN. RN has autism and ADHD. According to the lawsuit filed this month, she endured 4 years of severe and ongoing harassment by classmates. RN says she was teased, kicked, punched, and told she should die. The lawsuit alleges when RN's parents brought up concerns, school administrators and staff said the teen was overreacting and suggested she attend half days or go on homebound.
No one seemed to take it seriously. There were meetings with school administrators up to and including the principal. There were phone calls, there were emails back and forth, and nothing seemed to really get the school's attention, even when she was hospitalized.
We reached out to the Franklin Community School Corporation. The superintendent told us he did not have a comment.
An Indianapolis couple facing charges this morning in connection to a Sullivan County murder. Sullivan County Sheriff deputies arrested 40-year-old Danny Wilson and 40-year-old Renee Huffines on accusations surrounding the death. Investigators say they discovered the victim's body while serving a search warrant east of Sullivan. The victim has not been identified pending a positive identification. Wilson and Huffines are being held in the Sullivan County Jail without bond.
The widow of an Indiana man shot and killed by a state trooper along a highway has taken a step toward filing a civil lawsuit. Gloria Wrightsell's attorney recently filed a tort claim, which is a sign she may sue over 56-year-old Glenn Wrightsell's death. Police say Indiana State Trooper Daniel Organ shot Glenn Wrightsell on December 28th along US 231 north of Crawfordsville. State police say Wrightsell failed to follow the trooper's orders and is accused of grabbing a handgun on his own waist. The notice gives government agencies, including Indiana State Police, a 90 days heads up before they can be sued. It is 5:36. Putnam County officials will have to pay back nearly $80,000 seized during a traffic stop. In February of 2018, police pulled a man over saying his temporary license plate was hard to read. He was given a warning. However, police said he gave inconsistent answers, which then led to the search of his car. That's when officers found $77,000 in cash. Court documents show the man claimed the cash wasn't his, so police took the money without filing charges. This week, an appeals judge decided there was no evidence of a crime being committed, so the county now has to pay the money back.
This morning, people living in Broad Ripple want to know why a stranger is knocking on their doors in the middle of the night. This is a picture of the man. A Broad Ripple resident gave us this picture. He says the man knocked on his door well after midnight. Several other neighbors reported similar instances with the same guy. Each time he came by late at night or in the very early morning hours asking for help, telling a story about a sick relative.
His grandfather had just had a stroke and he needed help getting to where his grandfather was. He told me that he just needed help getting there. He didn't really ask for a ride or anything specific.
IMPD tells RTV6 you should not answer the door to anyone you don't know. If something like this happens, you can always call them to have an officer come check it out. Police say if you have a surveillance system or another way to get a description of the person, it can be helpful with the investigation. Now we want to get back to our storm coverage as cleanup continues in the town of Pendleton.
The EF2 tornado rolled through, damaging homes, businesses, and cars. And that is where we find our Erin Lish this morning. And she's going to tell us more about dangers that are still present even after the storm has hit. Hey, Erin.
Good morning. So it doesn't even feel like we're in a neighborhood right now. It feels like we're in the woods, but actually this is a sidewalk here in the community. A lot of debris still built up. People are going to have to come around and pick up these branches, these heavy, massive branches blocking parts of the road here. And this is a very big issue that people are going to have to be aware of. The CDC points out they looked at a study from another tornado that happened in Illinois, and about 50% of the injuries happened after the storm. Talking with first responder Captain Michael Pruitt, who actually goes around the country after natural disasters, he says there are things like down power lines, gas leaks, sharp edges, and nails that can cause some serious injuries after a storm. For your home, actually, be careful because the structure could be compromised since being damaged. There's still, again, plenty of debris here, so Captain Pruitt says prepare before cleanup.
And if we go out and start rummaging around and trying to start working in this environment and we haven't prepared ahead with, the proper boots and gloves and safety glasses to wear when we're doing this, we're going to end up getting injured, and then it just prolongs our misery beyond the disaster itself.
From what Pruitt has seen in other disasters like hurricanes and tornadoes, he says have a safety kit in your home, including a week's worth of water and non-perishable foods. Over at Pendleton Church today at 10 o'clock, they will have an area for you to come if you'd want to volunteer to help clean up this area. Again, a ton of damage here. You can see this car was absolutely smashed. 130-mile-per-hour winds ripping through this area here from this EF2 tornado. We are going to have a little bit more about the power outages still happening here, but for now, I'll send it over to you, Todd.
All right, thank you, Erin. And once again, today we have rain and the chance of storms in the forecast, so you certainly need to be weather aware. There's some scattered showers this morning, then we kind of get into a lull, and during this lull, depending how much sunshine we can see, will kind of determine our storm chances as we head into the afternoon hours. The more sunshine, the better potential for an isolated strong to severe storm. So this morning, there could be a few sprinkles out there, but nothing that's going to really hamper your morning drive. So still going to give you the green lights. And then for this afternoon, again, we'll watch for some scattered storms to develop. Some of you may have to pull over on the roadways with some heavier downpours, but overall, they should be just very, very spotty. Here's the current radar with these showers moving through, and that is just about it. There's a lot of dry hours still today, so it's definitely not a washout with temperatures pretty seasonable in the upper 70s for most.
Downey Unstoppables. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 5:44. Here's a look at I-65 at Washington Street. This is an area that's going to be closed this weekend, so I'll point out this closure as well as a couple others we're going to want to pay attention to coming up in the next few minutes.
Elena, thank you. Uber passengers, be warned you could lose access to the service if your rating is too low. The company says it will start denying riders access to its services if they have a significantly below average rating. That includes access to Uber Eats and its e-scooter app Jump. The spokesperson says that rating could get you kicked off will depend on the city you're in. Riders supposedly will receive several notifications before their account is deactivated.
Louisiana lawmakers have joined a string of other states in passing a bill that restricts abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected. The measure now goes to the desk of Governor John Bel Edwards. He's the Deep South's only Democratic governor. He's indicated he'll sign the bill into law.
We're learning more about devastating tornadoes that ripped through areas just west of Kansas City. Meteorologists say the massive tornado that tore through Lawrence and Linwood, Kansas was an EF4 tornado with 170-mile-per-hour winds. The tornado left a 32-mile path of destruction and was on the ground for nearly an hour.
And I had a 7-by-14-foot trailer back here, and we still don't know where it's at.
Felt like some hail or something, and my husband looked up and he said, well, we don't have a roof anymore.
There hasn't been a day without tornadoes in some parts of the country since May 16th. It is 5:46 right now, and Todd, there's a bit of rain headed our way.
Yeah, we're dealing with just some light rain showers here this morning. It's this afternoon into the evening hours that once again we will build in the potential for a few isolated thunderstorms, and some of them could be borderline strong to potentially severe. But this morning we're dealing with just some light rain showers, the heaviest of which up towards Monticello and then over into the Delphi area here, then some scattered showers in Peru, as well as Noblesville over towards Anderson and into the Portland area. But everything is very, very light. So especially north of Interstate 70, maybe you have a heavier shower. To the south, though, it's probably nothing more than a few sprinkles for your morning commute. We will avoid all this heavy rainfall, which is heading towards the Chicago area. If you have a flight, though, through Chicago here this morning, make sure you check with your airline. Back off to the west, do you notice kind of a weak little circulation here with that area of low pressure? It's once that comes through later on this afternoon into the evening hours that will finally get rid of this rain in this forecast, in which we have just a constant threat of storms in the forecast each and every day. Now today we are in the marginal risk for severe weather for virtually the entire state. So we went from the enhanced risk on Monday, and then we are in the slight risk for Tuesday and Wednesday. Today we are down into the marginal risk. When these storms do flare up this afternoon, which should be very isolated, the main threat would be damaging wind and the potential for some hail as well, but the tornado threat is pretty low here for the day today. So here's TrueCast. Again, it's just some general shower activity off and on throughout the course of the morning. The key time frame is going to be early afternoon. Yesterday we had a lot of clouds around, and then those clouds thinned for some sunshine. As soon as we got into that sunshine, the storms flared up and blossomed. Today it's the same deal. The more sun we see, the better chance we have of some storms flaring up in the afternoon hours. So it's a late afternoon into the early evening hours. There will be the isolated chance of a few of these storms to be borderline strong to severe across the area. And then once we get into the overnight hours, a shower could linger, but no severe weather at that point. Temperatures today, we're in the 60s right now. We'll see highs eventually today climb up into the mid to upper 70s. Now going forward in this forecast, tomorrow we finally get the sunshine back. We have partly cloudy skies to start, then it turns mostly sunny, 77 degrees. If you have any plans tomorrow evening, you're in tip-top shape. Dirk Bentley, I know, is up at Ruoff, and that will be a great evening for the show up there with clear skies and temperatures in the 70s. Now Saturday, there is the chance of some spotty storms, but otherwise it's a decent day and still plenty of sunshine and dry hours on Saturday. Sunday's a beautiful day with sunny skies and temperatures that'll be in the mid 70s. So the farmers, they need a break from this rain. They need to get out in the fields. I think Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, and even potentially Wednesday, we'll finally get about 4 decent days ahead with sunshine and seasonable temperatures in the 70s through Tuesday, and then up to 80 degrees again on Wednesday. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. So these closures, you're going to want to pay attention to them, especially if you're coming up to the city from the south side. So beginning at 9 o'clock today, continuing through 6 o'clock on Monday morning, northbound I-65 between I-65 between the I-465 on the south side and that south split, that's going to be closed, as well as northbound I-65 between the south split and the north split. Also closed westbound I-70 from the south split over to Belmont Avenue. So pay attention to that if it is part of your drive. To get around it, what you can do, head westbound on I-465, then go eastbound on I-70. That'll get you downtown, but please note that the last exit open is 79B, which is also the Illinois Street Meridian Street exit. So pay attention to that. Another detour route, you can take westbound I-465, which turns into northbound 465, and then head northbound on I-65 or southbound on I-65, depending depending upon your destination. So let's take a look at the roads right now. This is one of those areas that's going to be closed. I-65 at the South Split. Right now, all is moving along just fine. Got 3 more hours left before this closes for the entire weekend.
Elena, thank you. Why is Jennifer Lopez hanging out with both her current man and her ex and seemingly loving it? It's not a new buddy comedy coming to theaters, but we will explain what's going on in our Trending 6. That's next.
Healing power of Vaseline.
Before you head out the door, it's time for the Trending 6.
Yeah, these are some of the stories that everyone is sharing online and you'll want to know about.
The smallest surviving newborn baby in the world is out of the hospital. Little Sabi was born at 23 weeks and 3 days last December by emergency C-section. She weighed only 8.6 ounces, but when she was released from the hospital this week, she weighed 5.6 pounds and is doing well and is so darn cute.
Oh my, well, the Force will soon really be with you. Disney's new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge amusement park will open to customers on Friday. It will only have one attraction when it opens, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. The price tag on the 14-acre spot in Disneyland reportedly costs $1 billion. Another Galaxy's Edge is scheduled to open in Florida's Disney World sometime this summer.
New video shows just how lucky one woman swimming off the coast of Florida really is. This video was taken from the 28th floor of a Panama City condo. It shows a shark start to circle the woman who is swimming. The man who took the video says he watched the shark swim farther offshore most of the morning. The woman says she never saw the shark and only knew about it when people started shouting at her.
Wow. I was going to say, hopefully they warned her, but you can kind of hear them.
You can hear that, yeah.
Wow. Well, Dodgers and Mets last night. 4th pitch of the game, a foul ball near first base. The Dodgers' Matt Beatty makes a dive for it, but he doesn't come up with the ball. What he does come up with, ketchup, mustard, maybe even some nacho cheese on those pearly white uniforms. Ooh, hope they got some shout or a good stain stick to put on that to clean it up. What a mess.
In Oakland yesterday, a battle royale for a foul ball. Watch the man scramble for a souvenir. One fan high-stepping and literally swimming over the seats, trying to hold off 2 other guys and that woman in the white.
My gosh.
Turns out they all lost the ball to another young woman in the right place at the right time. You go, girl. All that effort for that guy, all for nothing.
Well, if you're a kid, how do you like this at your music recital? The recital was for the school attended by Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony's son, Max. J-Lo's fiance, Alex Rodriguez, posting this fun video of the brief sing-along there. Lopez also said Max had a solo during the Shania Twain tune, You're Still the One.
Well, of course he did. He comes from music royalty.
Exactly. And you guys missed it, but in the commercial break, we were singing a great version of that. We won't do it now, though.
No, but you can catch us in concert at Ruoff Home Music Market.
No.
I guess J-Lo is not singing You're Still the One to Mark Anthony anymore, though, right?
Oh, no. Burn.
So, that's why A-Rod was in the middle. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with some spotty showers moving through. Nothing heavy here this morning. That's the good news, but you may encounter 1 or 2 of these showers on your morning commute. Temperature's not bad. We are in the 60s. So this morning, it's a spotty shower threat. As we get into the afternoon hours, we bring in the storm threat, and it's not out of the question once again today. Some of these storms could be borderline strong to severe, with wind and hail being the main threats. Seasonable today, temperature-wise, with a high of 76.
Todd, thank you. An accident on a Missouri lake killed 9 members of an Indianapolis family nearly a year ago. Ahead at 6 o'clock, how an Indiana lawmaker is hoping to improve safety on duck boats. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.